Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is LolaAjisafe here. We are discussing Ready to Love. It's episode 7. Now before we begin, please don't forget to, you see my face, hit the like button. Hey Lola, what's going on? Hit the like button. As soon as you come in and say hey Lola, hit the like button. Second of all, most importantly, I want to know what y'all think. So please hit me up. And then last but not least, if you haven't subscribed, there's a white button right down there that says subscribe. Tap it, it should say subscribe and it should vanish away like once you hit subscribe. So yeah, let's grow our family a little bit, okay? Step by step. Anyway, let's going into it. So episode 7. So this is like a continuation from last week. So what happened last week? We were at the new concept of the mid-season reunion dinner. That's what it is. Like you sit there and you start fighting. So I think we stopped off where Morgan had talked about how she don't believe that Blake is sincere, and then it started a tag team kind of thing. So what goes on? They have, I think they just kind of finish off the exchange, and then they bring Uncle Nephew Tommy. Now y'all hear me say Uncle Nephew Tommy. I got that little reference from what's that movie? What was the movie? Show Niecy Nash Claus, where Uncle Daddy came from. That's how I came up with Uncle Nephew Tommy. That's all. But that's just so if you're wondering, sometimes I don't say Nephew Tommy and I say Uncle Nephew Tommy. That's because of Uncle Daddy or Daddy Uncle. However, they used to call him. I think they used to call him Uncle Daddy. Is what they used to call him on this show, Claus. Anyway, I digress. But so Uncle Nephew Tommy says, let's break. You're gonna eat, and then we're gonna deliberate after that, and one woman's gonna go home, one man's gonna go home. And so what do I see? I see Blake like giving Suanne like props, like, hey, you did this, you did that, you did this. I'm like, first of all, I don't think like a man needed to have done that, because first thing first, the exchange really had nothing to do with Suanne, quite honestly. I think when it was brought up by Morgan, Jeffrey defended herself, and then Suanne jumped in. So it really wasn't necessary. It was an unnecessary exchange, and I feel like a real man wouldn't pep that up. I feel like he would put it down, because which real man would want his lady involved in a trivial, might I add, a trivial entanglement or disagreement? Is trivial at best. Is trivial. This manufactured beef is trivial at best. It's trivial. So I feel, as a gentleman, he shouldn't be playing into it. But did you all notice that during the exchange, Blake was cheesing? Y'all don't be involved in this kind of nonsense. If you find yourself entangled with a gentleman who is tickled by your disagreeing with another person, then what kind of man is that? He's looking for you to fight his battles. Is that why he's excited by you fighting? Because he can't fight his own? Just beware. See, you clock down a guy, please pack your little night bag and go back home and block him. Because if you think about it, in when you flip it, like Jeffrey on the other hand is sitting with Andre and feeling a little bit ashamed. Now by all means, yes, her role is to play the feminine woman, so, but not to say that she's not being herself. Her role is to be feminine, but still at the same time she has the good sense to be a little taken aback and not proud of fighting for herself. But sis, I'd say like, so the thing is, yes, she seems a little gentle, or she plays the feminine role, quiet, but I mean, she don't mean she's scared. She's not scared of a fight. She's a single mother of 3. Like, she's had to claw her way from some crazy situations, I'm sure. So she's not afraid to fight, but she's not something she chooses to. So she's kind of expressing to Andre how I hope he doesn't think of her any less, because she was caught in that little nonsense. He rightfully says, no, you good. Another exchange. There's an exchange where Morgan, Anthony MP, and Marcia sitting at the table. And apparently it appears that, Anthony is a gentleman who they imply that he likes to be pursued. That's what Morgan's saying, and she tell him right off the cuff, like, my G, like, queens don't chase. That's right, Morgan. We don't. Like, you know, what's the word? I won't say the wrong. Like, beep on the pot or get off. Don't just sit on it. Do something. Don't just stand in my face. Do something. So, because what she had said initially, I think she had said this or sometime during this episode. She said that initially, at the beginning of the season, Anthony was actually a top interest for her, but he never pursued it or went any further. Now, yo, my G's, like, if what we're saying now is that in this animal kingdom, the antelopes and deers are chasing lions, then let's just wait for it. What's the trumpet? Like, y'all look at Revelations, whatever happens in Revelations before the end of time, maybe that's what's going on. Because the day that we'll see antelopes, I didn't think we'll come to that day, but maybe that's next. Like, humans start this going up backwards, then next will be animal kingdom. Because if a man is waiting to be chased, I'm sorry, that's the end. Because that's not you. Play your role. Your role is not to be chased. You should not be pursued. You should be pursuing. I'm tired. Tired of talking about this once again, because it's like the only way you can get it. That's why I'm giving this analogy. The only way you can get it is if you imagine an antelope, a deer, a reindeer pursuing a lion. Won't you think that's odd? That's the same way I think about, a man sitting down to be pursued by a woman. I'm not saying that's what Anthony is doing, but that's the general consensus now. That's what I'm hearing. They're saying that they feel of what's going on. So of course she lets him know, of course, my God, Morgan says, my G, like, queens don't chase. Are you in it? You're in it to win it or get out. Don't sit there like. And then, Marcia, who's on the table, chips in something else. She's like, that it's like, men are going for the lowest hanging fruit, the thing of convenience. Like, yeah, why do I need to expend energy? Let me just plug this thing down here. It requires least amount of effort I eat. So the question now is, I'd love to ask y'all is, do you feel that this is the way now that men, since they don't want to pursue, their modus operandi now is to just go for the thing that requires the least amount of effort, the person that requires the least amount of effort, least amount of work? Or are they just doing that when they're not truly interested and they're just looking to have a good time? It could be both, but I would say more of the latter than the former for now. But then of course it could be both. I don't know, but I'm like, what do y'all think? Because it's a point, because you do hear this all the time. A lot of gentlemen, well, I shouldn't say a lot, some gentlemen are just not putting in the effort. They want to be pursued. That's yuck. Going to another arrangement here. Andre quickly zeroes in, catches up with Mercedes, because he says he had already confronted her in front of the group, where he said that she hadn't checked on him when he had been locked in with COVID or been off the show. And Mercedes very honestly said, like, out of sight, out of mind, and he just wasn't a priority. So I want to say to you ladies, like, yo, my G's, ladies, if he's not checking for you, you're not a priority, you're merely a convenience. What did I say? If he's not checking for you, you're not a priority, you're merely a convenience. That's what I have to say. Now, we've all been there. So that's what I got from that. We start getting into the deliberations for the women. They're talking about the bottom two. So Mark Anthony comes up, and then Mercedes says something. She says that, Mark Anthony is still her top because she's not gotten any effort from Anthony. Now, y'all remember when I said last week that when she made a confession to Anthony, because she told Anthony, I like you, I respect you, I'm intimidated by you. She said all this, and I said at that point, that's it. That's okay to say that. I like you. What's up? How you doing? But that's it. That's all. The ball was in his court. And apparently my G left the ball in the court and went home. He left the balls in the court. He didn't do nothing. He didn't pursue it. And she said, all right. So maybe these ladies are right that, Anthony is wanting to be pursued. And if that's the case, my G, like, that's a darn shame. So now, I just want you to keep envisioning. If I can find a clip, like there is no clip, but if I can find a clip of an antelope chasing a lion, then that's okay. If that's not, then that's okay, but that's okay. All right, that's what you people want. Because then we should do trumpets. Let's just be blowing the trumpets and everybody will start rising, go up to the sky. Y'all think I'm playing with you? I'm not. I'm not playing. Because at this point, I do hear some people say that I've heard some gentlemen say that, yeah, feminism is trying to destroy manhood. Yo, you're a man. You're my G. Like, you going to let somebody or a corporation or a body or an organization stop you from being you? Not that you're committing a crime, you're just being you. So you as men are now saying that your manhood has been swallowed and attacked by feminism, an organization or a movement. Then that's a darn shame. Like that's the excuse. So yeah, so this invisible corporation, feminism, is going to stop you from being who you're meant to be. So now what they want to happen is, like, it looked like they want a woman to be a man and a man to be a woman. So they want XY over here. They want him to now become XX. Genetically, it's impossible. You come down here, XX, you're a woman. You come down here, XY, you're a man. So how are we now trying to switch roles? Like, y'all can do what you want, right? But for me, like, I'm not trying to be XY. I'm XX. And there's some things, yeah, there are roles defined between you and whoever you're with. But at the same time, I'm not pursuing you. But I say, at the same time, I'm not pursuing you. That's against the rules of the jungle. It's against the rules. I'm sorry, it just can't fly. I ain't gonna be chasing a lion. That's not how it works. They're rules of the jungle. So, because I've had people drop in, and I say this, let me, give you a prequel to what I'm saying. I say this because I've had people drop in my comments in my IG when I've said certain things to this effect, where they mad because they say that, yeah, you won't be Miss Independent, yeah, you do this, well, this is what you want, well, feminism destroyed manhood, and you're proud to say that. Feminism is a body, it's not a person. A group of who? Point them out to me. So you saying an invisible group of people made you change who you are meant to be. Okay, so let's get back to the show, but I just want to put that out there that I think that's nonsense. Like, if that's, it's like, if you allow it to happen, then you can't sit down and say, yeah, you want to blame someone. You need to embrace what you're allowed to happen and take it back. What's that, the passage in Bible? The violent take it by force? Take it by force. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to tell you what to do, what you're meant to do. But, like, when you start seeing antelopes chasing lions, don't say I didn't warn you. Because maybe it starts with us, the Homo sapiens, and then it goes down to the rest of the animal kingdom. I don't know. Apparently, Anthony didn't follow up with Mercedes. He left the balls in the court. So the question now is, or rather, my statement here is, if a man doesn't make effort after your initial, there's this thing, who says it? Like, just let him know just let him know your interest. He don't make a move after that. Please be clear that you can't make up that space for him. You can't do the work that he's meant to do. You can't do the work for two, for various reasons. One being that he may play along, but is he interested? Is that where he wants to be? And if you have some sense, you'll probably wonder that too. Anytime he act out, you'll be like, did he really want to be there to begin with? And not to say that he won't act out if he did put in the effort. He can. But you probably feel more comfortable and better chance of knowing that he'd be there if he did the legwork himself. Because the truth is, how you start a relationship is how you finish a relationship, or how you live in the relationship. If you have to stand and do the legwork for both of you, please expect to continue doing the legwork through the relationship. Don't get into the relationship and start complaining that you're doing the legwork, because he sit back, like, because he said that you've been doing it, so why you want to change it now? So be clear. with the big things, if you make concessions and cross your own boundaries in the beginning, please be prepared for that to happen through the life of the relationship. And not to say that you can't reverse it, but it's harder to slow down a moving train. But if you set the course before the train starts, it's more effective. So men's lounge, they're talking, having a discussion. There's something that I want us to decipher. My G, Blake, he say that because they're talking about bottom two, I think someone mentioned Jonique, then they mentioned Suanne's name. Blake says to the guys, like, yo, Suanne works for me. Alright, so I'm taking this two ways. So one, Suanne works for me, like, yeah, she fits, she fits, she works for the purpose for now, for the show. For the purpose of the show, she works. One. Two, she works for me. She does my bidding. She does my work. Like, keep her because she works for me. None of that says I like her, I'm into her, she's my top connection. Well, she's your only connection, really. But she's my top connection, and I see a future with her. She works for me doesn't say any of those things. Like, the sun didn't set along the ocean. None of that. So I wonder if Miss Suanne saw that, because I heard it. Y'all heard that too? Y'all tell me in the comments what you think. She works for me. Like, how would you take that compared to how the other guys have expressed their interest about their women? She works for me. My mind is blown. Another point here was there was a point where they were having conversations about, the women who were on top. So, Tony the Tiger talk about, Morgan had the sunset and the ocean and da-da-da-da. And then Lyndon's talking. And then y'all see how Tony the Tiger was looking at Lyndon. Like, he about to eat him up. Even though he knows, because he said in his confessional, he knows that Lyndon, he said, I didn't say it. Like, Lyndon no match for him. May the best man win, but he mean that he know he gonna win. Like, he know that Lyndon's a convenient backup. He know how the game is played. Everybody needs to have a backup if you want to get to the final. So he knows this, but even notwithstanding, my G still had the, he still had the inkling. He know it's a game, but he's still feeling a little like, imagine this. We're using the animal kingdom to buttress our points today. The lions, chase the antelope. They glide in, grabs it, bites into it, and he drags it to wherever he wants to sit on the tree because it's a hot afternoon, and he starts chewing into it. And there's an antelope standing right over there. Like, antelope, no, they dare not. Because now I don't know what the antelope is looking at. The antelope might be looking at, yo, you ate my cousin, like, what up? Or the antelope, I don't know if the antelope is feeling hungry. But however, the antelope is looking like, it didn't come close. That's the equivalent for me. It's like, yo, Lyndon not even close. But still, Tony look at him like, I wish you would. Try me. Same difference. That's how it seemed to me. Like, Tony, like, y'all, you saw that, right? Tony look at him like, mention my woman's name again. Don't do it. That's what it looked like to me. Like, but that's what I got from that. I love to know what you guys, if you guys saw it. Well, I'll put it right here, and what you guys think about that. Like, where is he going with that? I mean, and that's not bad. That's actually an interesting trait in the masculine nature. Talk about marking their territory, because he's marking his territory and he's not amused by somebody infringing on his territory. That's funny. They get to deliberations. They come out of deliberations. Now we're going to talk about people. So first of all, come with the guys. Bottom two, Mark Anthony and Anthony. Anthony is saved because I guess they want to verify like this guy want to be pursued or what he really wants from this experience. The second person is Mark Anthony. Now the ladies use the save a hold card so he doesn't have to go home. I remember what the card is called. That's why I call it save a hold, because I don't remember what it's called. So they use the save a hold card and they save Mark Anthony. But on the flip side, Jonique and Suanne are bottom 2. Fancy that. How is Suanne bottom 2? Right? But Blake was saved. Suanne has at least 2 interests. What do Blake have? But anyway, let me quickly get to my point. So, Suanne and Jonique are bottom 2. Jonique gets sent home. The guys didn't use their save a whole card. Why? Wisdom, my people. Wisdom. They didn't use it, sure. But for reasons best known to them, they didn't use it. And I remember seeing Tony, Tiger, and Lyndon, who are the people who were actually have an interest in her. They wanted to use it, but the rest were not interested. But what did I say last week? I had said last week that Jonique was more mature than most of the men in that group, so they could not see the value in her. So I want to say this, right? Sometimes when you're in the presence of men or a man, if he's not paying attention to you or recognizing your value, it's not because you don't have value, it's because he doesn't recognize the value. Not everyone can appreciate a Bugatti. Not everyone can appreciate a Rolls. They won't know what to do with it. If they're Toyota guys, then let them go and get their Toyota. And this is no diss. This is just, do not look down on yourself if the wrong person can't appreciate you or doesn't see your value. It doesn't mean the value is not there. It means they just can't see it because they're not for you. Same difference. Most of the men could not see the value of Jonique, and Jonique is, to me, amazing. Nice looking, smart. She's a businesswoman, and she's got some real cool values. Maybe I'm calling her values cool because I agree with her, but same difference. But anyway, I say this to say that they did not use their save a whole card because they didn't see her value. And that's not because she didn't have value. They didn't have value. They couldn't appreciate it. She was too much for them. Like I said, she was mature than most of the guys there. So they couldn't appreciate her. Now this is no diss to anyone, it's just the facts. We're just laying out the facts right now, and the facts remain. That's where they are right there. So Jonique, sis, you played a nice one. Much respect. There's something that, Morgan fast becoming another favorite. And so Morgan say like, she mad. And why she mad? She mad because she's like, why is Blake here? Yo, please, as I'm stewing over it and talking about it, yo, please write to me. Why do you think Blake is still here? Nobody want him. Only Miss Suanne wants him. How is he still here? Like, so then that makes me feel like this voting process is not done by the peoples. It's done by the producers. Because who saved him? Nobody want him. Like, maybe they're going to throw out some, like, is he like producer's pet? Like, I don't know. Why is he still here? Just to create havoc? Because nobody want him. No, but what I say, nobody want him. Like, everybody else with connections getting sent home, but he's still here to aggravate the heck out of all of us. So we're going to the first date of the episode. That is Anthony MP and my girl Suanne. Suanne's wearing this beautiful canary yellow outfit. That yellow on, beautiful color, really look nice. And so he starts off the date. He get that stupid mat. I'm not going to talk about that stupid mat. I guess it was trying to be funny because he knew the cameras are there. The mat doesn't even look. It doesn't even look like it's part of, like, it just looked like it was placed there for filming. That's just my 2 cents. I don't know, but it just looked out of place. So anyway, this of note here, because we've talked about, Mark Anthony, sorry, I keep calling him Mark, and we've talked about Anthony NP. Like, is it that he wants to be pursued? So he act like he's heard. And so what does, Anthony do? He gets flowers. But what is odd about the flowers and the presentation is, like, okay, let's do show and tell. So if I'm giving you all something, this is the lighter for my candle. I don't smoke. If I'm presenting you something, I'm gonna say, hey guys, here, I'm looking at you, I'm gonna present you with those flowers. My G, this is what he did. He did this. He presented it over and he looking over there, and so she kisses on cheek. Like, it was robotic and an empty action. I don't know if a producer suggested it, because he doesn't know what to do really. I don't know. So now we're trying to figure out, is it that this guy likes to be chased? Is it that he's shy and this is not his medium? What is it? There's a disconnect. So we're trying to figure this out. Like, what's going on? Let's keep going. So after they disconnect the flowers and then peck on the cheek, they have a little dinner or wherever. It wasn't dinner because it was light outside. Whatever, they're having like a lunch and it's a little you know, a little stiff maybe, you know, Miss Suanne's expecting him to expatiate on things, and he's just like, so she kind of launches into, I really thought you were into me. Remember when we were dancing at Rock Cafe? I really got a feel for you, and I was like, oh, he's interesting. And so guy decides to pull up the same old trick. He's like, oh, well, we're gonna dance before you leave. Like that, if you have to manufacture moments, like something's up. So I'm just gonna say, I'm reserving my comment to see more, but this is TBD, to be determined. Something's up. Like if something don't make sense, it means we don't have all the facts. We don't have all the facts. Some don't make sense here. Like we need to narrow it down to figure it out. Like, is this someone at his big age that is waiting for someone to pursue him? Is that what that is? Like he don't know how to give flowers. He don't know how to talk to women. He don't know how to, someone threw a ball at him. He don't know how to return a serve. Like you don't have to be, you know, Serena or Venus to return a serve. Like really don't. It's not the Wimbledon. But I'm going to hold my final opinion until I get more facts. But if you all have an opinion, please throw it in the comments so we can all chew over it and discuss. Because right now, I'm like, I'm wondering. Because that's all I got to say. Next date, Mark Anthony and Jeffree. They meet, you know, of course, Mark Anthony is, you know, reconnecting with his connections. And what I love here is that Jeffree decides to tell him about a chronic disease she has, Crohn's disease. Quite briefly, Crohn's disease is simply an inflammation of your digestive tract from your throat, your esophagus down, small bowel, large bowel, to, you know, and the inflammation, what that does is sometimes, you know, you're going to get diarrhea. Sometimes you might have some bleeding, and it breaks down into the lining. And so that causes you a lot of pain. And it's just, you know, you need like medication. When you go through flare-ups, you need medication. But worse so, sometimes, you know, you can have other things where because the bowel is so like tender and there's a breakdown, sometimes bowel can stick together and create holes in each other. Just long story short, it's just a chronic condition. You get flare-ups. So stress is something that can kind of trigger it, and when you have a trigger, it can last for a period of time until you kind of treat it. Sometimes it could be like different medication they use for it, but I digress. So what I think is great here is like she's not waiting until, you know, 6 months in to alert him of this is what I live with. She's telling him now, I have respect for that. Like she's talking about a medical condition in front of the cameras. I have respect for her. I respect that, because that not necessarily easy to do. And once again, you know, Mark Anthony, like he impressed me. I'm like, he said, you know, because first of all, when they started the conversation, he was like, you know, she said she had something to say and she was a little nervous. Like, no, let me carry the weight. You just, you know, relax. This guy. Like, I think sometimes we might prejudge a pretty face and say there's nothing behind it because we know he's pretty in the face, but there might be some substance to him after all. Now, I'm not saying he's grown. He's getting there. But he a little bit grown. Like he seems to be a nice guy. I'm not sure yet. I don't know if he's just, because it's still early days yet. So it might just be he has a pretty cool representative. So his representative is like knocking the balls out the park. But is this really who he is? That's the question we're trying to figure out. So yeah, and you know what he does, that, you know, first of all, the way he's listening to her is very attentive, and he's giving a listening ear, validating what she's saying. But then he even goes one step further. Like he going for gold. He says that, yeah, that, you know what, how are your children taking it? How do they manage? This guy confused me. I'm watching the show. Like, I'm not even in there and I'm watching. I'm like, this guy's stop. But yeah, like, I'm impressed. Like, yeah, let's see how this play out. He impressed me a little bit here. But then at the end, she's talking about, yeah, like after this date, you know, she can't really choose between, I believe it's Mark Anthony, Blue, and Andre. My sister's gonna make it to the final unless something crazy happens. She should make it to the final. The more options you have, the better it is, the better chances you have. She says she can't choose. Sis, that's what I'm saying. Clearly you watch prior seasons. Don't choose, please. Is that, you know, don't even, maybe you get to choose maybe at that weekend where they go to a weekend house. In fact, don't even choose then. Make them all feel good. Don't choose that. Just wait. That's what I think. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, she can't choose. That's okay. Tony and Morgan. We love, these are fast becoming one of my favorites. Just the way they have it, they're grown. Like these two grown, and have a way they play against each other with. I kind of like them. And so what I've noticed here, and I think this is a good class for us to of note, is that they're fresh in the game. They're playing a competition. She knows that Tony likes her, and Tony knows that Morgan likes him. But notwithstanding, she's letting him know what she will and will not take. She's setting her boundaries, and I have respect for that. And I say this because to me and to you is that sometimes in a new situation, we may be reluctant to set the tone of what we expect, of what we desire, or what should not be crossed. Like, if you set out your expectations and your boundaries and the person can't respect it, then clearly the person's not for you. But sometimes we're reluctant to say up front because we don't want to chase them away. If it chases them away, then they weren't for you. That's just my 3 cents. But I love the way she does this. Like, she's telling him what he should and shouldn't do. Shape up, she's joking with him, like, yeah, you play too much, you do this. Like, she's playing. Like, her tone is not like harsh and biting. Her face is not all scrunched up. No, it's not. It's like her makeup look great. Her neck is not like moving. Like, she's just talking, but she letting him know, and we know that she's setting the pace. Like, she's like, what you won't do is da. What he said at that time, he's like, when they talk about, would you like me, I like you, we look good together, then he's like, then she complained about something, and he said, take what's yours. And she said, say less, say no more. Like, I like these two. I really do like them. They're fun, but they're lessons to be learned too in how they're approaching it. All right, next date of note here. Mercedes, Mark Anthony, they meet up again. Now, these two seem to be in a similar place in their lives because all their ages are similar. I want to say Mercedes is 30, Mark Anthony is 34, Jeffrey is 32. So Jeffrey's not that much older than Mercedes, but more mature. I mean, she's a single mother of 3, so definitely she's been through a little bit, so she's more mature than this year. But when you see Mark Anthony and Mercedes, they seem to be in the same place, playful. I see a different energy in Mark Anthony when he's with Mercedes and when he's with Jeffrey. When he's with Mercedes, it's like, 2001, 2005 vibes. When he's with Jeffrey, like 1856. Like, oh, she's throwing her handkerchief and he's catching it. Like, he seems to be more playful with Mercedes. One is not better than the other. It's just different. And who is Mark Anthony really? Is he like the 1856 Mark Anthony with Jeffrey? Or is he the 2005 or 2001, Mark Anthony with Mercedes? That's what we want to see. Like, who is Mark Anthony really, and which one is he more comfortable being? It seems to be a gentleman in both regards, I think, but he just seems to be more playful in one than the other. So that's what I think is going to determine how he moves. Again. All right, so final scene: Morgan and Blake. Now and I know that Blake didn't set up this meeting because Morgan says at the top of the thing that Blake had requested to meet up with her to try and iron out some things. Now we already know, we're assuming now that Blake is a producer's pet. So one of the producers said, my G, like, this is what you need to do. You want more camera time? Do this. Meet up with Morgan, give us something on camera. And Blake is like, y'all saved me so far, sure, I'll do it. Y'all protect me, right? Like, I'm not going to get hit, or she's not going to throw anything at me. No, Blake, that's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. Just meet up with her. We'll send a message to her, okay? Just sit there and take it. And he's like, okay, I'll do this. So here goes. So we already know. So Blake and Morgan are meeting. We already know that there could never be a Blake and Morgan meeting or togetherness, or they couldn't really be a couple because Morgan had a low tolerance for shenanigans, and Blake, Blake can't hang. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm simply going to say that Blake can't hang, right? So she starts off with, when I first met you, you said this, and this, and what this, and this was like, yeah, you want children real bad. You think that's going to make you happy. And then second of all, he said that when you get children, that 80% of things you want to do, you can't do. So when he sits down, he's like, well, I want to apologize for all the things. I said, what are you apologizing for? He said, I don't know. Where then he said, well, for hurting you. She like quickly corrects him. You didn't hurt me, son. I didn't lose any sleep over you. And she say this. Like, I'm just trying to say, like, you know, Morgan is an interior designer, but I think sis needs to get her MS in psychology, because she said, who hurt you? That's a valid question, because she said, I don't see how a parent will be talking about parenthood like this. Talk about you won't be able to achieve 80% of things you want in your life. Like, just saying, yeah, just doing that. Like, I don't know if it's his superiority complex that feels like he can, like, I'm more mature than you. I don't know whatever was driven, but she brought it down to like, yeah, he like baby daddy. We had got 3 baby mamas. Maybe they hurt him, but yeah, she got him. She got him. You know what I want to say? You know what? This meeting, right? So Morgan didn't necessarily need to say what she said, but it's a TV show, right? Like, you all want action, because she's like, she thinks us, and I wasn't here, I didn't discuss this, I'm just assuming she didn't. So when they did the meeting, she's like, oh, so you all want to play, huh? You all want to play? All right, let's play. It's a TV show, right? So she didn't need to say what she said, because in real life, most of the time, it makes sense to keep your cards right close to your chest. Don't let the enemy know. Don't let the ops know what you think. Like, you've seen them. You just keep an eye on them. Watch them closely and just smile. Like, you got them where you want them. But it's a TV show. This is a fun show. It's a game show. It's a game show. So let's play. Like, you all like clips. You all like viral clips. All right, producer, let me give you what you want. So she goes ahead and she blasts him. She blasts him to another planet. Like, he looking like, And then to top that, I want you all to be very clear. Like, she delivered that in an even tone, makeup straight, that beautiful pink blouse. She looked nice. She didn't move her neck. Her voice didn't change. She didn't twist her face. She didn't do all this. She wasn't doing all that. She didn't do this. She was just real. She was serving. She served him. And he took that lashing. Like, that's the first. He took it like a man. I give him that. Like, he tried some little weak comebacks. They fell to the ground quickly. He didn't have anything to say because she didn't lie. And here we are at the end of episode 7. I thought I was pretty good. Like, it's good enough for me to want to include that. Like, I decided to sit down and edit that because I thought that was interesting. And that's what she made episode 7, gave episode a little kick. I'm like, did she have to do it? No, she didn't. But y'all wanted something. Y'all wanted to give us something, right? And she delivered. So y'all, Morgan is the MVP for this episode, and that's gonna be the thumbnail. She the MVP. Please recognize Morgan, you the MVP. That's what I have to say. So this is the end of episode 7. Please don't forget to like the video. Yo, let me know. You want to talk about the MVP? You want to talk about Blake? You want to talk about Animal Kingdom? Put it in the comments. Let me know. And last of all, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button right at the bottom. You can see it. If you haven't subscribed, it should be there in white. Just hit it and make sure it changes. Y'all, thanks for watching. Lola, over and out.